Dezmon Landers here, your startup advisor and partner in entrepreneurship, and welcome to 5 reasons why relationship-based business models are bad for your entrepreneurial career. Look, let me just put this disclaimer out there. I like and love and understand and appreciate professional relationships. But let me tell you something, they are the antithesis, if you will, of an entrepreneur getting out of the, getting into the entrepreneurial world from being traditionally employed when they want to. There's 5 different reasons for that. But overall, you know, as an entrepreneur, if you're someone who is working a full-time job and have a side business, or if you're a full-time entrepreneur and you're on the fence right now, or if you're a growth entrepreneur, right? You've got to evaluate kind of what you need at this specific time. If you're in your earlier stages and you want to leave, right? Those are the 2 things I got at it. You want to build a business with it being your full-time income sooner than later, and you don't like what you already do. Right? If that is you, you need to watch this video, because I'm going to save you a whole lot of time and headache and effort and all this craziness that I don't know why more people aren't talking about. Relationships can be really, really bad if done incorrectly when you're trying to become an entrepreneur. Here's 5 reasons why. Number 1, the buyer will have too much control, normally resulting in no deal. Here's an example. If I am trying to do business with a big corporation like Nationwide Insurance or you know, Accenture or any corporation, right? Walmart, Target, Kmart, don't matter. If I have no relationship with them and I go to them and try to get them to carry my product or to procure or purchase my product, then, you know, they're basically going to say no because I don't know you, essentially. Now, there's anomalies, right? Everyone likes to point to the anomalies. Oh, Mark Zuckerberg, you know, he just put a website online, and Mark Cuban's a billionaire. Look, these people are anomalies, okay? The truth is that you've got to have a step-by-step formula to become a full-time career entrepreneur. And one of the things I'm giving you right now is super important. Is something that I wish people would have told me instead of sugarcoating it. You're giving too much control to an organization. It's too early for you to be doing relationship business, because you're in a position of weakness, not a position of strength, because they don't know you. And there's other competition and organizations that are out there that they probably know better. Now you could say, hey Dezmon, well, you know, me going and making an introduction is a step in the right path to get to know them. Absolutely. But if you want to leave your job where you are right now, or you want them to carry your product right now, or you want them to buy a service from you in the next 30 days, it's not going to happen because they don't have the relationship. And a lot of big companies or organizations just don't move that fast, even if they did know you. So that's number 1 reason why it's bad. Number 2 is time. Look, relationships can take years to build. This is something that I personally was not willing to do because I knew I never wanted to work for anybody. I always wanted to work for myself. And you know, there's a lot of people that are like that. The problem is no one's telling us that relationship-based businesses are not something we should be looking at in the early stages. If you're trying to transition from making $5 grand a month at your, you know, full-time job to $5 grand a month as an entrepreneur, and you want to be what I call a people are going to take offense to this, but real entrepreneur, someone who is fully detached from an organization. They're on their own island. Yes, there may be ships coming into that island, but that island is yours. You are not a, you know, you're not a peninsula like Florida, right? You're not an extension of a bigger organization. And when they want to put rule on you, they can reach and do that. I'm not talking about a contractor who went from getting benefits as a full-time employee to now works for the same company in the same cubicle, but now they're, instead of doing a W-2, they're actually paying for their own benefits, and then they've incorporated themselves. I ain't talking about that. There's millions of those people. I commend what they do, but essentially they're employers to me because they are being controlled by a larger organization. Nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, right, economic independence, complete decision-making independence, then this message, again, you know, is for you. Time. Look, you don't have time to be building all these relationships. I mean, how many relationships and how many years are you going to let go by and just be at the mercy of how this relationship pans out? It's just too risky. Number 3, the market size. Look, you can't know everybody. I read a statistic a couple months or weeks ago that said the average human brain can only remember 150 people at any given time or in any condensed period of time, right? Here's what this means. Even if you remembered 150 people, which I can't even remember like 15 people, right? Let alone 150. But even if you watching this video could do that, eventually you're going to run out very quickly of people to sell to if you're only selling to people in which you have a relationship. Look, it's ridiculous. You know, early stage businesses and entrepreneurs, in order for them to really get their foothold, they mess up sometimes. All corporations have done. It's just a natural part of growing an organization, whether it's a for-profit, it's a non-profit. The only time that this doesn't happen, and it really does, but the organization can fix it, is if you're entrepreneurial in a big organization. But that's really not an entrepreneur to me, because you have a big brand name where you can walk in, the relationship has been built by the brand, not you individually, and you cannot take that relationship with you in the same way that you had it with the big organization. Look, let's move to number 3, because this is getting to me here. Number 3, is the market. Number of people you sell to too low and eventually runs out. Got that. Number 4, tend to be in time-intensive industries, consulting, sponsorships, web design. How many people do you know that are web designers and they have a low volume, high cost model? They say, oh, you know what, we only want a couple clients because we want to do a good job. That's not really the truth. A lot of times the truth is, what they're really saying is, I've never been trained to lower my prices and expand my reach to get more people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay really tight to this big corporation, and they're just going to outsource me their work. There's no issue with that. But again, if you want to be fully economically independent, then what I'm saying is more for you than it would be for someone like there. Think about if you've watched, not the Travel Channel, but the Animal Planet, right? And have you ever seen a shark kind of moving through the water, and then you saw these little fish that are like right at the mouth? Look, you either want to be your own shark or you want to be your own fish. That's separate, right? There's pros and cons to each, but if you want to do that, then be over there. Don't be one that's riding right next to the mouth of the shark hoping to pick up the scraps, because the scraps is all you will ever get. So number 5 again is strangers. Number 5, strangers can't buy the product or the service. Let's say you remembered 150 people. Well, let's say you asked all of them to buy from you and 5 bought from you. Unless your product is like 100 grand per transaction, which still won't last you forever, may only last you like 2-3 years, if that, and a lot less if you have employees, then you're gonna run out of a market. Look, you need to sell to strangers, and you need to be able to sell to strangers in a very compacted amount of time, right? So create a product or service that is not based on a relationship, because you can do trade without them having to know you. As long as you can create credibility, create confidence, and all this good stuff. Look, every different product or service has different levels of time in which people need to know you. Just go to the products and services where people don't really have to know you that well, and then sell those products or services as long as you're providing value to the marketplace, as long as you like it. Very simple. And then once you do that, you can build to relationship-based businesses. Number 6, and this is the most important thing, traditional employment. Not listening to this video will keep you traditionally employed for longer than you probably want, and puts the power into other people's hands. Because look, if you can't sell in a rapid turnover, then you're not going to be able to create enough money in a short enough period of time, i.e. a month, right, to be able to cover your base expenses, let alone pay employees. So if you can't do that, you're going to be at the mercy of your employer. Now, if you like your job, then stay. But if you don't, then you've got to listen to this. Even if you like your job, but you're planning for a side business, don't go into a relationship-based business if you want to get out in a year or 2. Now, where there always are exceptions, and will there be exceptions? Absolutely. I know I'm going to get people in this video to say, oh my gosh, well, I left my company and I was able to do a contract and I'm an independent entrepreneur. Yeah, but normally it doesn't work like that. It's either relationship or no relationship. And most people can't do a no relationship business because they don't know how to create value and create demand for a product or service that they created from thin air, or that they're selling for somebody else in the form of a commission. Here's the summary. Your future is in the hands of a small group of people, and they control how long you stay an employee if you do not listen to this video. I care about your economic independence, and I've seen this happen to literally hundreds of people. It almost happened to me when I was in lines of business, when I was kind of growing my businesses early on, and I found that all my time was being drained. I had one of those high cost, low volume businesses, because I said, oh my gosh, this is the way to do it, treat your clients right, etc. That still is the way to do it in terms of treating your clients right and providing value and really caring about them. But I had to learn very quickly that I was essentially a slave to my clients, right? And you don't want to do that, right? Because you can literally go do that in a more comfortable environment, being in a corporate environment, essentially. I mean, that's how I look at it. So this message is only to wake you up and to help you expand and look into other businesses. If you're looking to get out of your job in the next 6 months or even 12 months, do not do a relationship-based business unless you've already got 15, 20, or 10 years of relationships built. If you don't go into an industry where you're going to need that, because even though you've got 15 over here, you're still going to have this amount of time in that industry. And then guess what? You'll be 55, 60 years old talking about shoulda, coulda, woulda, and you would have never started a company on your own, or you would have never started a company that got enough traction to support you, your family, and your employees full time. Look, I love you. I care about you. My name is Dezmon Landers, your startup advisor and partner in entrepreneurship, and I hope that you pick anything other than a relationship-based business as your first business. Signing out. Talk to you soon. Thanks.